Have you ever wondered where you should start on your recovery journey? You want to know what the first step is, what the first thing you need to do is. Like, if you ran a coaching program, how would that even work? Well, you're in luck because today I'm going to be sharing the very first piece of my coaching framework. This is really powerful stuff, and I want to make sure that you have it in your back pocket to pull it out when you need it and when you're ready to really go after a life of freedom. What the heck is the first step anyway? What do you need to do? Well, the answer is you need to prime your brain. Now, if you're anything like me, you either just cocked an eyebrow like, what the heck is this chick smoking? Or you just rolled your eyes or even clicked off the video. If you are still here, thank you. I promise you this is going to really benefit you, and I'm glad you're sticking around. So what the heck does prime your brain mean? Think about it this way. Before you do your makeup, you put primer on your face. Before you paint a wall, you put primer on the wall. Why do we do these things? To get it ready. Because if we were to just take the paint, if we were to just take the foundation, slap it on the wall, slap it on, like all of these things, if we were just to go right at it without the primer, it's not going to look right. It's not going to be a solid end result. It's not going to give us the effect that we want it to. It's not going to do what we want it to do. We put primer on to get it ready for the next step. So when I say prime your brain, that's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be getting your brain ready to go after your recovery journey and take your life back. But really quick, if this is your first time hanging out, welcome. My name is Karleigh Saunders. I'm a confidence and abuse recovery coach. I am here to help you not only heal from the abuse that you endured, but to help you build the skill of confidence and go after the life that you deserve. So, priming your brain. All right, Karleigh, I get it. We need to do it, but really all I can think of is literally putting primer on a squishy pink brain. So that can't be it, right? Look, you're not alone. I get it. I get that it sounds weird. Even when I say prime your brain, I automatically think of like holding a brain. Okay, think about, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like kill this for myself. Whenever I think about priming your brain, I think of this scene from Pirates of the Caribbean 3 Outworld's End. There's a scene where Jack Sparrow, who is in Davy Jones's locker, is hallucinating, and he sees himself as one of the creatures that's been like attached to the ship. He leans himself forward, he's all barnacle, and then the brain's kind of chilling back here, and he picks it up, and in his inevitable Jack Sparrow way, he licks it. Honest to God, that's what pops in my mind every time I think of priming your brain. And now it's probably going to pop in your brain too. So you're welcome. Now that we know that it's getting ready, what do we need to do? How do we apply this? And please tell me you're not going to make me try to lick my brain. I promise I'm not going to make you do any brain surgery on yourself, but we are going to get serious and break down step by step the process that's going to get your brain ready for the journey of recovery. So the very first step, don't roll your eyes here. Don't get frustrated. Don't turn away. This is not a sexy answer. It's not super fun. And this isn't something that's going to fix it overnight. Just beware of that. And for the record, anyone who tells you they can fix this ish overnight is insane or straight up a liar. Liar is more like it. This stuff takes time. And that is part of step one. The very first step to priming your brain is acknowledging where you're at. It's taking kind of a mental audit of where you are in your recovery journey and where you want to be. What are your current struggles? Are you still trauma bonded with this person? If you don't know what a trauma bond is, feel free to check out the video that is linked in the info card. I talk a lot about that on the podcast and here on the YouTube channel. So go check out that video. But if you're still trauma bonded, that's something to take into note because it tells you where your brain's at. Have you been out of the relationship for a week? Have you been out for 10 years? It doesn't matter where you are, but acknowledging where you are, regardless of where it's at, there's no right or wrong, but acknowledging it is really important because that's where you're going to find the next step forward. If you don't know where you are, you can't make progress. You could be in the middle of a forest and you're just told, hey, get out of here. It's going to take you a whole lot longer to do it without having a map than if you were to have a map telling you exactly where you are and where the exit is, right? So priming your brain and acknowledging where it's at is exactly what this map is. It's saying, okay, here is where I want to be. Here is where I'm at. Here's the path to get there. I'm going to be real with you here. The first half of my recovery journey, I avoided doing a lot of this work. In fact, I don't even want to say I avoided it. I straight up didn't do it. I was convinced that it wasn't important. I was convinced that it didn't matter. And by avoiding doing this work, I was stunting my growth. While I may have learned a few valuable things, I wasn't actually making progress. I was given the map, but I basically took the map, crumpled it up, tossed it in my backpack, and went along my way. You can have the map all day long, but if you ain't using it, you ain't getting anywhere. And the reason that priming your brain is so important anyway is because you're going to be throwing a whole lot of information at it. Think about it this way. You have not gotten up off the couch for 10 years. And yet you've decided that next weekend, you're going to run a marathon. Like, I don't know about you, but if I didn't get up off the couch for 10 years and then tried to go run a marathon, I would die. Chances are most people would die. If your body ain't ready for it, it ain't gonna happen. And more likely, you're gonna make it maybe a quarter mile in before you completely flop on the ground and potentially give up. Priming your brain is basically the training for the marathon. Priming your brain is getting you ready and getting everything ready to go to make progress. But I want you to hear me here. Priming does not mean you're not making progress. Priming your brain is incredibly important before you dive into a lot of the really deep work. But that doesn't mean that you're not actually making progress along the way. By priming your brain and getting yourself ready for the hard things to come, it's actually going to put you about 30, 40, 50 steps ahead than where you are right now. It's getting you ready for a marathon. It's not that you're not making progress towards a goal, you're just getting ready before you go after the goal. Step number 1 is acknowledge where you're at. Get clear where you are. You're wanting to run a marathon. Have you been sitting on the couch for 10 years or have you been passively maybe going on runs a couple of times a week for the last year? Think about where you are before you run the marathon. Think about where you are before you take a step forward. If you need to, grab a journal and just do a brain dump. When I ask the question, where is your brain at? Everything that comes to mind, dump it out on paper. That's going to help you, 1, clear out your brain and give your brain a safe space to store all this information so it doesn't have to think about it all the time. But it's also going to give you a physical representation of where your brain's at, and it may highlight a few things that you really need to work through. So step number 1, you've already acknowledged where you're at. Where do we go from here? The next step is affirmations. Now, I absolutely freaking love talking about affirmations, but really quick, don't tune away. If you are skeptical, trust me, I get it. I was the same way. When I say affirmations, I ain't even talking about anything woo-woo. I am talking about science. Now, the power of affirmations is so real, but I want to be clear about what an affirmation even is. An affirmation is just something you say, think, believe that affirms a belief. If you are walking around saying, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid, I'm so dumb, I'm so ugly, you are affirming those beliefs. You are solidifying that belief inside of your brain. But if you walk around saying, I am smart, I am so freaking powerful, I am intelligent, I am beautiful, that's an affirmation to affirm those beliefs. So like I said, this ain't anything woo-woo, so don't get too weirded out. This is really rooted in science and what we're doing to shift your brain's thinking. Why do we need to say these affirmations? I get that they affirm a belief, but really what's the point? The power of affirmations here is that they have the power to rewire your brain. Whether you believe the affirmations or not does not matter right now. All that matters is that you get into the habit of telling your brain that you are smart. You are telling your brain that you're strong. You're telling your brain that you're capable, that you're enough, that you're worthy. Again, it doesn't matter if you don't believe those things. This isn't a battle of, oh, I need to make myself believe this. No, this is just getting in the habit of saying something on a continual basis over and over and over again. When you say these over and over again, what happens is that our brain will begin to wonder why. As I take a step back here, our brains are incredibly stubborn. Our brains don't want to change their train of thought. They don't want to change how things are. Why? Because things are the way they are for a reason. And our brains crave consistency and they crave predictability. If we already believe that we're stupid, that we're dumb, that we're not capable of doing things, we're not going to go out of the box. We're not going to try anything new because we think we're too stupid to go out there and do it. So our brain wants to keep it that way. Not that it wants to keep you stupid, but it wants to keep you safe. It is safer to think, hey, I'm stupid, so I'm not going to risk failure, than it is to think, maybe I really am smart and risk failure by stepping out of your comfort zone. However, life does not happen inside of your comfort zone. Recovery ain't gonna happen inside of your comfort zone. I know you want it to, and your brain wants it to, but it doesn't work that way. Our brains are so stubborn, they don't wanna let go of these thought patterns. And they don't wanna let go of the belief that you're stupid, that you're dumb, that you're ugly. They want to hold on to that. So the reason that we say affirmations on a consistent basis, and I'm going to break down the science of it in just a second, but the reason that we say it on such a consistent basis is because we want to break through, we want to get it through our skull. We want our brain to truly hear what it is we're saying and eventually believe it. If it hears I am smart all the time instead of I am stupid all the time, it's going to take notice. It's eventually going to go, dear God, she keeps saying we're smart, but didn't she say like for the past 10 years that we're stupid? But now she's saying we're smart and she's like really hooked on this. So maybe we should start paying attention. That's what your brain does. Here's what I want you to do with your affirmations. I'm going to give you some examples in just a second, but I want to make sure that you understand what it is you're going to do with these things. 2 to 4 times a day, or as every single time you pee. And if you're hydrated, which you should be, it should be happening several times a day. Every time you go into the bathroom. What on earth? Why does this woman trying to tell me to talk positive to myself when I'm going to the bathroom? Because there's a mirror in the bathroom. And what I want you to do is I want you to stand in front of the mirror, look yourself in the eye, and say your affirmations. And now this is where I've lost you because you're just like, oh my gosh, this chick is absolutely crazy. But trust me, there is science and there's reasoning behind this. So here's the thing. I don't want you to just think affirmations. Yes, continually think them throughout the day, but I want you to make saying them out loud a priority. And I want you to make sure that you say them looking yourself in the eye 2 to 4 times a day or more. And the reason why is because when you say them out loud, there's several things that happen. When you say an affirmation out loud, your brain has to think of the affirmation. So there's one time that it thinks about it, and then it has to tell your mouth to say it. So there's already 2 processes that your brain has to go through just to get it out of your mouth. And we're all about rewiring the brain. We're getting through to that stubborn brain in there, right? And so we're really getting through. So when you say it out loud, your brain has to think it and then it has to say it. And then when you say it, you are actually hearing it, right? So you're hearing these words go back into your brain or go back into your ear. And so your brain then has to process that it's hearing it, and it has to allow that sound to go in through your eardrums. So that's 3. And then once that sound goes into your eardrums, your brain has to process and understand the words that are going in. So that means that when you are saying these things, you're not only thinking it and saying it, and then it's going back in your ear, but then your brain has to actually process it. That is 4 different ways that we are striking the brain. Think about it this way. Think about a video game, right? If you just have one little gun and you're trying to break down a massive building, it's going to take forever. But if you have 4 weapons and you've got 4 snipers set up at all exits, you can get that building down so much faster. Our brain is the same way. We have to go at it from different angles and make sure that we do this strategically to get through its stubbornness to get it to believe it. But okay, Karleigh, that still doesn't explain how you want me to look myself in the eye? Say what? The reason I want you to look yourself in the eye is for a few reasons. One, this is going to really up the intensity of when you say it. And when you up the intensity, your brain takes notice. But here's the thing. When you look yourself in the eye and you're saying these things to yourself in the mirror, you are validating yourself. Your brain is processing the image in front of it, which is you. Your brain is then saying, wait a second, she's saying this to me. She is looking at me and saying that I am strong, that I am capable. You're telling me that we don't have to wait for external validation? We don't got to wait for mommy or daddy or boyfriend or boss or coworker to tell us these things? We can tell us these things? What? Yeah, that's extremely powerful. And the other reason is because I want you to think about it this way. Imagine someone walking by and going, you're pretty smart, and just keeping on walking. Like, dang, that feels good, right? But now I want you to imagine someone having your full attention and they're grabbing you by the shoulders and they're looking you in the eyes and saying, no, I need you to hear me. You are strong. Imagine the difference there. Imagine how that feels, right? If you're anything like me, you probably just like had a chill go down your spine just trying to process that. But imagining someone grabbing you by the shoulders and giving you their full attention when telling you this is extremely powerful. This is the same way that we can do this to ourselves. By looking ourselves in the eye and saying these things, we are giving our brain not only all of those connection points, but we're teaching our brains that we can validate ourselves and we don't have to wait for external validation in order to prove that it's true. So now that we've got that down, now that you've acknowledged your brain and you understand why affirmations are so important, how do you come up with affirmations? There are 4 basic affirmations that I say on a continual basis. You're going to hear these at the end of every single YouTube video, at the end of every podcast. I put it all over social media. And if you've ever worked with me, I make you say these at the beginning of every meeting and the end of every meeting because it's that powerful. Heck, it's even on my affirmation hoodie because that's how powerful and important this is. And these 4 are: I am strong, I am capable, I am intelligent, and I am worthy. These were done with purpose, okay? There's a reason I chose these 4. A lot of the time as women, I know men struggle with this too, but particularly as a woman who has been in abuse recovery, and after working with several women who have also gone through this, these are the 4 things that kept coming up. We believe that we're not strong enough. So we think that we're too weak. So when we say I am strong, we are battling that negative thought process where we think that we're not strong enough. When we say I am capable, because we don't believe that we can do it. We think that we don't think we have the capabilities. We physically don't think that we can. By telling our brains that we are capable, it's saying, oh, heck yes, we are. I am intelligent. I'm not just saying I am smart. For the affirmations that I use for my son, that's what he says. But the reason I use I am intelligent is because it hits different, as the kids say nowadays, right? I am intelligent. It's because we think that we're dumb. We think we're stupid. We think that we can't figure it out, that we can't take the next step. When the reality is we are really freaking intelligent and we have to remind our brains of that. I am intelligent. Now, this last one, I am worthy. This one is the biggest deal for me because so much of our worth is tied up in other people if we have any sense of self-worth at all. The very first thing the abuser attacks is our sense of self-worth, and we feel like we are entirely worthless. Add on to that the fact that society tells us that we're not allowed to feel worthy, and we've got an entire mess. So I am strong, I am capable, I am intelligent, I am worthy. I highly encourage you to start with these if this is your first time using affirmations. Or you can check out my podcast episode, which is Affirmation 101, which breaks it down more and teaches you how to make your own. I will make sure I link that in the show description. So make sure you go check that out. Okay, so we've acknowledged where our brain is at and we're getting it primed with affirmations. The next step is journaling. I want you to have a journal on hand. Whether this is an 88-cent journal from Walmart, a fancy journal that you got off of Amazon, or someone they got on sale at Michael's, I don't really care, but you need to have a journal. You need to have something that you can go back to again and again. But I really, really recommend that you do this pen to paper. There is a massive, massive power that comes with pen to paper writing. Just so I was talking earlier with affirmations about all those connection points in the brain, when you're writing them down, it's a very similar response because your brain thinks these things and then it has to tell your hand to write these things and then it has to read it after it's been written and then process the messaging. So this is just a really powerful way to get these thoughts and beliefs into our brain as we're helping it to rewire and understand these new thought patterns. There are 2 parts to our thinking. There's the conscious and there's the subconscious. The conscious are things that we think of. Like for me, I am very much aware of the fact that I struggle with my body image. My entire life, I have struggled with eating disorders. I have been very, very thin due to starving myself. I have been a lot bigger than I am right now due to overeating and binging. So I have really struggled with my body image. However, a subconscious belief that I wasn't aware of until recently is that my body is my protection. So because of the abuse that I've gone through, I have found that I get less attention from men when I'm overweight. And so unconsciously, what I was doing is I was sabotaging my attempts at going after my dream of being a bodybuilder because I am terrified of getting attention from a male that can result in a repeat incident of something I've already gone through. That was a subconscious thought that I wasn't fully aware of, but it was guiding every single decision that I made. Journaling is a way to unlock that thought pattern. It's a great way to unlock those subconscious beliefs. There are other ways to do it as well, but there is a huge power in journaling for a few reasons. One, when you have a physical place to dump out your thoughts, your brain understands like, okay, so it's here, it's on that piece of paper, and it's safe. So I don't have to hold it up here anymore. The other reason is because when you just start writing, you're going to begin writing things that you didn't even know you were thinking due to really powerful things like journal prompts. And with these journal prompts, when you answer these questions, you're going to break through and find out that you were thinking things that you didn't even know were there. You're holding on to these beliefs that you didn't even know you believed because they're within the subconscious. Journaling unlocks those subconscious beliefs and brings them up to the conscious so you can then work through them. If you are not aware of these subconscious beliefs that are running your life, you are not going to be able to make really solid progress. While it is really important to change our conscious thought patterns using things like affirmations, we also have to dig deeper and get into that subconscious level. I have a lot of resources around journaling, whether it's on the podcast. I've got the Worthy of Recovery Printable Journal, which is an ebook for survivors. I also have the Journal to Freedom, which is just a list of journal prompts. I'll make sure that I link those in the show description if you're wanting to grab those. Or what you can do is you can begin to just journal your daily life. If you are new to journaling, it's going to be more surface level and you're not going to be super deep into it yet. And when I say surface level, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. An example of this is Minecraft. If you've ever played Minecraft, you kind of know how the game works. There are several layers to digging down when you're trying to find a cave or resources or whatever. When you first start digging, there's dirt, right? You have to dig through the dirt to get to the stone, to get to the coal, to get to the diamond, to get to whatever. But you can't get to that until you dig through the dirt. You can't just snap your fingers and be in the deepest depths of a cave, right? You have to either find it or dig through to get there. So when I say surface level, it's not negative at all. I'm not saying that it's as a bad thing, but you have to get through the surface muck before you can dig down deeper into those more subconscious thoughts. So when you first start journaling, you're probably going to be thinking that it's not very subconscious because these are all things that you're aware of. That's okay. That's a good thing. Continue to journal through those things, write through those things. If you want more resources on that, like I said, check the show description. The really important thing here is like bringing it back to the beginning when we're talking about acknowledging where our brain is at. You can't change what you're not aware of, right? Awareness is extremely powerful, and journaling is a major tool in order to get that awareness and in order to get that growth. The final thing that I want to remind you of when it comes to journaling is that your journal is your safe space. It's not for anyone else to read but you. It's not for your sister, not for your mama, for your partner, for your best friend. This is for you. So I don't want you to hold back. I don't want you to write things down in a certain way that someone else would approve of. This is for you and your brain alone. So write that way. Let this be a safe place for you to completely dump out all of your thoughts and empty it out and process through things. And if there are some tear-stained pages, you are so not alone, and that's a good thing. It means you're working through things. As someone who really hates to cry, and I'm really working on letting go of that thought, it's totally okay, and it's healthy to cry. It's actually really detoxing and clarifying for your eyes. So if for no other reason, if you struggle with letting yourself cry, let yourself cry to just give your eyes a bath. So when it comes to priming your brain, there's a lot of these pieces, but if you work them into your day-to-day, it really works out to be less than 15 minutes a day. That's why I personally created the Worthy of Recovery Printable Journal. This is a 30-day journal that has not only journal prompts, but a gratitude journal, a victory journal, and a place to put your affirmations and so much more. This journal was created specifically to give you results every single day. So every single day that you work through, you're going to be seeing growth. You're going to be able to look back on day 3 to your prompt on day 1, and you're going to be able to see growth. That's the power of this journal. And with the journal, because I know a lot of people are really overwhelmed by journaling, I included a mini course that teaches you not only how to use the Worthy of Recovery journal, but teaches you what to do after the 30 days are done, because I'm not about to leave you in the lurch. If that is something you're interested in, I'm going to make sure I put the link down in the description, because it is really, really powerful. And it's something that I use on my own journey over and over and over again. So when you get it once, you can print it out over and over again to your heart's content. So again, I will make sure that it's in the description. As always, if you have any questions, please make sure to comment below or send me a DM over on Instagram. at Karleigh.Lynn. All of those links will be in the description as well. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and never forget that you are strong, you are capable, you're intelligent, and boo, you are so freaking worthy.